Happy Monday! Welcome back to Retake the Week. We are, of course, again talking about the previous 7 days in the world of CS and doing our best to be objective, funny, and in some cases just Swedish. But hey, we each bring something to the table. You know, we all have different skills, we each have different areas of expertise, and we're going to try and do it again. Of course, there has been an event that's been played, a full PGL event crammed into a tiniest space as possible, just so that ESL can still have an off day, just as they casually laze their way around the calendar, fitting as fewer games as they can into everything, with suboptimal formats and a general air of arrogance and twattiness. Quack, of course, is joining me as he does every Monday, this time very tired, coming back from Jönköping, which I assume was a DreamHack summer, or were you just out there for the shits and giggles?
I was there for another thing. It was a grassroots thing called Rivals League, which is basically the Swedish championships in League of Legends, and is basically expanded into CS and Valorant for this season. And I was there as a desk analyst, which was very fun. It was easily the biggest production I've ever worked with. It was a super cool place. But the actual broadcast wasn't that big in CS, but because it wasn't even HLTV covered, like it was very grassroots. But getting to work, so it was honestly a fucking amazing weekend, and the production was super professional. We were 12 talent members in total, and we all worked together on all the games. Even if I don't know shit about Valorant or League, but I was still able to help out with like interviews and stuff. And it's just been an amazing weekend with a great production crew. I feel like I've made friends for life because it was actually very fun working with all these people. So yeah, I'm very happy to have been there.
A night to remember, clearly. We won't ask what happened in the communal showers and instead move swiftly on to thanking the people who make this show so wonderful and so available on audio-only platforms. The members. Yes, the names, there's been some additions to these lists of names down here. Thank you to those of you joining the court on a roll. And of course, our court contributors, XL, Romich, and Amnesiac, the latest joiner to the contributor tier. Members get access to the King's Court interviews, the BTS segments, of which we just completed one, all the VODs of all the live streams that might potentially ever be done for whatever reason. They get access to it all, as well as their own bonus content, and of course the contributor podcast, which is run by the contributors and then viewable by all the by all the members. They get to see it, they get to watch it, they get to like on it, comment on it, and of course eventually if they get their money up, join it. Quack, you've done enough promoting, enough talking about yourself, enough talking about Sweden. We're not going to let you promote anything more. We're going to instead get straight into the retake of PGL Bucharest. And we're going to start with the only topic that really matters to me right now. Dziugss was robbed. Dziugss was indisputably robbed over the weekend. It was quite an amusing sort of event as far as the MVP race. On Overcommed, I talked about like the 2-horse race, like the 2 leaders for each team, Dziugss and Jabby. They were the highest rated for each respective finalist coming into that matchup. And we saw a pretty interesting match. I think a lot of us expected Astralis to come in and be the favored team. Instead, Foot played like, well, the team who was more comfortable in a big moment. Then you remember it's Bucharest. There's no stage. There's no crowd. There's no nothing. It's about as high pressure as, well, a pro league. So it might not have been that shocking that the two teams were not that far apart in effect. But still, a pretty surprising outcome with a 3-1 victory for Foot, with the first 2 maps being quite one-sided. Or at least feeling like they flew straight by. I'm sure they did for Hooksy too. Before a little bit of resistance, and then the final settled scoreline. My problem with the whole MVP discussion, which is where we're starting this, by the way, we don't talk about any of the actual CS, we're just going to go straight to the MVP discussion, is that I saw Symmetry awarded MVP, and immediately my mind just went, HLTV are just rage baiting me. Like, they're not actually trying to pick the most valuable player. They're just trying to piss me off. Like, I did not understand it. I refuse to understand it. I looked through their justifications. Usually I don't even read their justifications. I should assume it's going to be something stupid like kills per round win in the playoffs. And I was just like, yeah, it's silly, but whatever. It's what they do. And I guess that's how it works now. If you do it consistently, it doesn't matter how dumb it is, it's official. But I looked through it and they really went all in round win percentage in one maps, or in one rounds, I think it was. Like, the most absurd stat to justify the Symmetry MVP. They also used, obviously, the map, the overall stats in map wins as a table. I'm like, do they just not play the rest of the fucking maps then? Like, those are not valid. They didn't happen. Just annoyed the fuck out of me. So yeah, they found a way. They found a reason. They found an excuse to give someone other than the highest rated player on the team, who probably did play the best over the course of the entire tournament, the MVP. And I just got tilted by it. So I decided that was going to be our opening topic. Quack, this could be interesting. Do you actually have a pro Symmetry opinion in terms of the MVP race? Like, I know a lot of people have pro Symmetry things to talk about. Like, it's a pretty cool turnaround, improvement in his game, step up, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not taking away from all of that. But as far as just being MVP, do you have a case to make for him?
Well, okay, so they might have used some new stats in the article where they write about the MVP, but I'm pretty sure that the process for selecting it has been the same for years. And I'm also pretty sure that some parts of HLTV don't like it, but it's always been like that. And I think they should change it if they don't like it, but it's. I think maybe they feel a little bit like if we change it, then it'll somehow devalue the past MVPs, which I don't think is the case. Personally, they should change it if they don't like it, but it's.
We know they've changed the HLTV top 20 formula and process and exactly who gets selected based on what.
Yes,
a couple times. And everyone still values most of the HLTV top 20s, with few exception, over the years. So I don't think that should be a real concern.
But I see the logic behind why you would do stuff like per round win, per map win, and why you would effectively discount the maps that you lose, because the entire point of why they did that in the first case was because they wanted to measure who actually drives the team forward, and you drive the team forward by winning maps. I can see the logic. I'm not sure that's the best way.
That's just invalid, though, because as I argued with people for a long time when it came to things like how round swing should be measured, how damage versus assist should be measured, that's a debate we had, and that I definitely won. Like, just because the other 4 people didn't do their job doesn't mean the one guy didn't do his job, and therefore the fact that we're judging an individual on team result means we're no longer talking about the MVP. Like, really. We're trying to find this weird abstraction where it's like, when the team succeeded, who was best? Like, that's not really what we're talking about. We need to look at the entire event, who played the best. Otherwise, we're just ignoring games, ignoring maps, ignoring valid gameplay from the event for no real reason. Like, we've arbitrarily ignored gameplay to enable this. So I don't see that as a valid take at all. Like, the individual played all those maps. Like, they didn't not happen. And you can contribute immensely to winning in the same way you would in a different match and still lose. You can contribute more in a map you lost, and therefore should be getting all that credit than in a map you win. But you only end up with credit for the map you won because your team did. Like, that makes no sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The sense it makes is that they also don't ignore all the lost maps. They ignore the ones that don't really have a bearing. Like, if you have like an upper bracket situation, then that's kind of if you lose a map there, then I see the logic behind it, but I don't think it should be that way. But I can see why they decided to do that from the first place. I think it makes sense on paper. But
I will push back on something. It's not Nero bias. What the fuck are we talking about?
No, it's not Nero bias. That's the thing. Is as far as I know, it's not much of a selection. Like, they debate slightly if it's very close, but there's like a calculation where you take the one maps and you look at those maps and look at who performed the best there, and some other maps. Like, if you get eliminated, you look at the eliminating map, and that's like when you consider for losers MVPs. Like, if they got eliminated, did they still perform then? Then yes, they'll still account for that. And then, of course, they weight them differently. Like, the deeper you go into playoffs, the more valuable those games are, and also compared to groups. And yeah, as Zinclock said, online matches don't count this year. But that's more of a sample change. That's not necessarily the process of selecting.
Not got
then I think they debate.
either.
Yeah, I think they still debate a little bit, but in the end, it is basically like they get a calculation, and here's a stats sheet, and symmetry was probably on top of it.
I still don't see how, because in terms of a calculation you run, he's lower rated in the group. He's lower rated in the playoffs. He has a playoff series where he's under a 1.00 and they still won. Like, how the fuck does symmetry come out mathematically best in this? He's not the top rated performer of any playoff series. Like, I do not understand how this ends up working. Even on a pure mathematical basis, let's take away anything else. Just running numbers, I don't see how you end up with this. Unless you are selecting exclusively for one maps, you're ignoring certain things entirely. Like, I just don't understand how the math works out to this. Like, someone's gonna have to show me a formula, because I refuse to believe there's a formula that actually pumped out symmetry was the best player here.
I think it comes down to the fact that the 2 maps they lost all event, which is impressive as fuck, by the way. Dziugss was top fragging both of them. And Symmetry had a pretty shit map, the one they lost against Inner Circle.
Still doesn't really explain anything.
Well, I mean, and I can see the math because it's quite close. It's what are the event ratings? Like 126 and 124. I could see that 0.02 difference being made up by the fact that Dziugss outperformed Symmetry in lost maps. So the actual maths, I can see them working out. The gap will be narrower if you remove the lost maps from both players. I mean, and I'm sure Symmetry comes out on top.
Again, they 2-0 Mongols. Symmetry's a 0.94. He's a 0.3 lower than Dziugss in that series. I don't understand, if you're weighting later games heavier, how you end up at a Symmetry over Dziugss situation. I think there is clearly someone in... There's people making decisions here. I don't see an algorithm that pumps out Symmetry was the best player at this event.
No, yeah, it probably ends up being, in the end, it probably ends up being a case of some personal judgment. I'm not the
persons involved,
but it's
have misjudged, to put it bluntly. And we're going to throw up a quick stat here because there was some debate in my Discord. Link nowhere to be found. I may post it. Probably won't. I always forget to post my Discord link anywhere. Isaiah is obviously I just immediately said it's just rage bait. And someone who is quite present in my Discord server right now, who some of you might have seen in like everyone's shows recently. Like, I mean, at least he did a Thorin show. Luz Raposa provided us with some stats about this foot side. I believe this is the right graphic here. No, this one is. Okay. Right here. We have round swing per map. We have dual swing per map. Now, if we ignore the diamond shapes, I'll explain what those are in a second. The circle shapes are just where the players all ended. So there's only one player on the entire team who's in the superstar category. It's Dziugss, with over 100% dual swing per map and about 50% round swing per map. Symmetry is good. Like, this is probably one of the best events he's ever played. But he's right there in the box next to Demon, beneath Launex, above Krabany, but Krabany's still actually shockingly far to the right and up as far as IGLs go. But just look where they're positioned. I mean, just on raw performance, Dziugss is top. Those diamonds are the averages for each role. So Dziugss not only is the only superstar on the team by raw performance, he outperforms the average by so much more than everyone else. It's to me alarming. Like, it's an even further indictment that there's just been a lot missed. Like, there's someone's desire to make the underdog story, like, somehow come to like this insane climax. Not only did Foot finally win a trophy, the guy everyone's been trying to replace, oh yeah, gets the MVP. Like, someone tried to cook way too hard. It's like when you watch a story and you're like, it's just not believable. That's just not, like, that's what someone's tried to create here. It's like an unbelievably good underdog story. And I can't, it just doesn't feel real. Like, it just does not feel real. So yeah, if you watch the games, you'll know this has some bearing on reality. You'll know that Dziugss was robbed in many ways, through HLTV's own stats, through some advanced metrics, and through just pure eye test. This didn't quite make any sense.
I honestly don't think it's a storyline thing. I think Symmetry played a great event, and I can't say that I definitely think he should be the MVP, but when you have that close a rating margin, then it is definitely reasonable. I can see how they might have found stats that they value enough to put him above him.
They definitely did. They did find the stats. They dug hard enough and deep enough to find the stats. As I said, round swing per one round and rounds overall stats in maps won. Yeah, they dug fucking hard and managed to somehow find a way to make it look like he was the MVP. But those maps you lose, you still play. Those rounds you lose, you still play. So why those are just scrubbed off the board arbitrarily to give someone an MVP is insane to me. And I know for years they've been doing kills per round win as a huge thing, and for years they've been wrong. Let's just be blunt about it. That's not a good way to measure performance over the course of an entire event. Kills per round win is not a good factor. It's not a good stat.
No, and they mentioned that all of the FUT players were very close in KPRW.
Oh yeah, so they couldn't use their standard bullshit reason to give the wrong person the MVP.
No, it's a tie there. It's a tie there because all 5 of the players on the team were actually very close. I found this that the average Symmetry goes from being 0.02 behind in rating to being 0.03 ahead of Dziugss in rating if you consider only the map wins. So the math for that is there. He's also more than 1% swing in map wins higher than Dziugss.
Yeah,
that's in map wins, not round wins. That's a pretty huge difference, I would say.
It's massively flawed logic to use just the maps they win for a start, but it's also just beyond that silly. Like, it's just silly. Like, I just find the whole thing silly.
I don't know. I can't see that. I can't buy it. I don't think it's
buy it. You're happy with this.
He's also higher over his round swing is like it's like 0.5% higher per round, which is a pretty big discrepancy even with the map losses. The map losses are only 2 maps, so like it doesn't the fact that they only consider wins doesn't play a huge part here, I don't think.
It has an impact. It clearly has a significant impact because, again, as you said, they weight each progressive round heavier. And in the semi-final, Symmetry plays a January Symmetry series. And I'm still supposed to believe he comes out mathematically as your MVP. No, fuck off. Like, you're clearly either lying to me in terms of this idea of weighting further and further into the event heavier, HLTV, or someone's just come in and just be like, all right, fuck it. This narrative needs to be here. I refuse. I just do not see this.
Dziugss was also way worse in the first 2 maps of the grand final.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, first 2 maps of the grand final, he was way worse. 2 maps.
And was more or less equal to Symmetry in the final map. Only the map they lost was where Dziugss was better.
Did that map get played?
Yes, they lost.
Then it counts. Shut up. I don't want to hear it.
Symmetry contributed more to the 3 they won, which won them the final. I see the logic here. This is good logic.
That logic is so fucking... I'm going to end this before I get genuinely angry, because I feel like I'm arguing with someone with 3 IQ. Like, what do you mean? Why are we ignoring the maps they still played? They still played those maps. I can't be bothered.
Yes.
I still can't be bothered. Let's just move on. Screw it. Right, there's a few despicable failures, and they're not just the people who lied to us about player value at this event. We came into this with some pretty clear favourites. Like, this is obviously a bit of a broken field. With no Vitality, no Falcons, no Spirit. A lot of big teams missing, so a pretty big opportunity for some lesser-known teams to show some stuff. Now, of course, we can start with the most obvious one. The one that everyone clowned on, laughed at. FaZe Clan, 0-3. I mean, it's weird because, as we stated, they shouldn't have been here. Like, as I've talked about this on the double swing, like, we didn't even know if FaZe were going to show up, but they do show up. They, after defaulting 2 losses to go 0-2, play in a circle in an 0-2 match and go straight home. Maybe quite. I don't like. Do we have to give teams a Google Calendar, like, premium membership? Is that a thing? Like, how the fuck? I'm sick of this sort of thing happening. Like, what the fuck? What was this entire week just dedicated? There was like a 6-day period of just forfeits. That was like half the conversation. Like, it just made me a bit annoyed. Like, I don't know about you, but this is just gross.
The forfeits are here and there. We talked about that last week because it had already happened by then.
Well,
I give FaZe
Asian
a pass.
stuff had happened. The FaZe stuff hadn't happened yet.
The FaZe forfeits had already happened as well.
Had they?
Yes, this event started Saturday last week.
Had they?
2 weeks ago even. Yeah.
Weird.
That happened. That happened because they forfeited those to go to Belgrade, which is where they lost the major on Sunday.
Interesting.
Before we
must have been
recorded.
over.
We talked about.
Yeah. I must have in my head remembering the episode about everything else, just not this.
Yeah.
But anyway, phase.
No, we've
03.
already talked.
Fuck my life.
We already talked about. I gave them a pass for the fucking Inner Circle game because at this point they're less than 12 hours out from losing the major, going into Bucharest looking dead inside. Karrigan probably already on the phone with Falcons, and probably the rest of the team also know it. This game was never. I mean, look, yes, of course, as always, FaZe should be better than this. But in this instance, on their literal worst day, probably, of their entire careers, I can give them a pass for losing it 2-0 to Inner Circle. It's a bad performance, but this team was already dead. This team was, with what we know now, this team was already dead. I'll give them a pass for this game.
But this is one of those classic cases where I give no quarter. Like, as a collection of 5 individuals demanding a salary to play professional CS with the caliber of player you've been and the history of your collective, let alone individual resumes, you should not get 2-0'd by Zero Fix and Head Trick in 2026. It's not even online. Like, this is just not acceptable. Like, this is something you should get lampooned for. You took yourselves to 0-2 to try and make the major. They didn't have the goal to even win a map when you did show up. Like, nah. Despicable Failure is mostly aimed at FaZe. That's the timestamp for this section. Like, it's just not even, like, there's nothing worth redeeming back. Like, everyone's like going to be confused or concerned about like what's going to happen next to the rest of these players. Like, I don't want to see them play till 2027. Like, I'm very happy to see Frozen and Twist just bench themselves to 2027. Like, I don't want to see you anymore. Like, you fucked your entire season to that extent, then came to this event and got 0-2'd. Bench yourselves. I do not want to see you.
If a FaZe lineup still exists, even with some of these players, they will be starting from scratch. They will not be inheriting this ranking. I'm assuming they'll keep whatever they can out of Frozen and Twists, and then try to build something good out of non-qualified players over the off-season. Yeah, we'll see it. This is like, FaZe are dead. The FaZe that we know and some people love, that aren't us. Well, the FaZe that we know and used to love.
There was a time, there have been times where we've loved even this exact roster. Like, this exact roster was box office to end last year. Like, as much as everyone's like, oh, it's just the fluke bullshit run, it's going to keep them alive too long. It's like, yeah, but it was kind of awesome. Did you see that Twist highlight? Did you watch the games? Did you see those Jacob pistols, right? Like, no one loved. As of December last year, they were still capable of just skill gapping people.
True.
You know what I mean? And they come into this game and get bodied by Inner Circle.
Right, yeah. The FaZe that we know and love died the day before, and will remain dead, and will probably never return ever again. This FaZe, when people are saying that FaZe died, this is not just like, oh, they missed a major. It's genuinely, this team is perished. They will not. There's nothing left. There's absolutely nothing left. There's no reason for them to keep the ranking, because unless they can score some magical wins, again, without Karrigan, I will note, whoever the fuck they put in his place on short notice, to play Blast in Fort Worth and IM Atlanta. Unless they can score like top 4 finishes in both of those events, their ranking will be in shambles, like BC game tier. And they have no reason to keep these players. They might as well just start fresh with a new core and play open lands with whatever you can keep out of Frozen and Twists. Which I assume honestly might be 0. It might be 0 of those 2 players might stay. I think they might end up with Jacob, who I also saw rumored in like some Polish leaks going to 9. So even that is not even a given. It's like this phase is dead in so many different ways.
Yeah. And
they died before the Inner Circle game. The Inner Circle game had fuck all to do with it, in my opinion. That was never going to help them. Unless they went on a generational 7-game win streak to win the entire... or 6-game win streak to win the entire Bucharest event. Which would have been phase magic, to be fair. But unless they did that, that game was never going to save them whatsoever. So I'm not too miffed about them losing to Inner Circle. As more than that, it's obviously a bad match result. But it's I not an excuse. It's just that's more of the same sad stuff out of a dead phase.
I'm just done with the individuals even.
Rotten Corpse put the shoes out and lost to Inner Circle.
Because yeah, there's not. I'm just sick of all of them. Like Sen, Brokey. I don't know where Brokey. Astral probably need an AWPer. Like go play with Astral. Like I don't want to see you anymore. Like none of you are worth my time. And I hope, honestly, Karrigan to Falcons. There's only two acceptable ways for it to go: utter calamity, or the magical rebirth of Karrigan and Nico, just for them to choke the major final.
Yeah.
Those are the only two acceptable outcomes. Anything else, I won't be happy with. But yeah, that's the biggest failure. Obviously, the 0-3 phase that ended up being sent home. But also at Bucharest, we didn't have that many calamitous group stage exits. The BC game exit, whilst obviously relative to name brand value, tragic, not that unpredictable. There's a reason no one wanted much to do with BC game prior to this event. They've looked bad. They are bad. The team doesn't really gel that well. And they only managed one series win. That's over Voka in the 0-2 matchup before going out to a Focus team who didn't play their best event. Like we'll get into Focus's eyeball or choke in a second, but this wasn't a great Focus event. They played well enough. Go 2-3, first like pretty big LAN as a roster. Probably the best we've seen, like from a full event. Probably the best Jorko we've seen in a while under this sort of banner, because he's just struggled, I think, to get going for whatever reason as a Focus player. But BC game didn't even look like on their tier, like on the same class caliber. So I'm just thinking this. It's not looking good. Like we talked about at Overcom, the BC game, it's not looking good. Like the solution we suggested was Russian speaking, Quack. I don't know if you are in the same sort of wheelhouse when it comes to finding a BC game solution, if you even care to find one. But we couldn't think of anything else that'd be even viable.
I've heard people say, I think you've said this, I know Sam has said this as well at some point. I think it would be either in TLDR or in Overtime and Inferno, how BC Game are actually still interesting despite being shit because they have the money to make so many moves and whatever. And I just think, no, they just won't do that. They just there's no way they get anybody to go to BC Game who is actually worth their salts. There's no way they managed to build a good roster out of this. There's no way they managed to buy another core, which is worth anything. And like at this point, I have zero respect for a single one of the members of BC Game. Not even Simple. I think the way Simple acts. I mentioned this before when somebody said, "Would Foot be amazing if you put Simple in for Symmetry?" And I just said no, because I don't think he fits that team whatsoever. And he still hasn't changed my mind on that, because as much as he's playing fine, it's not like he's tearing up the stats sheet in the games that they've played in Bucharest here, and in their last couple of open lands. It's not like I think he brings any sort of huge value to BC Game, which is like they're like 2019 Zaibu, like they're losing in spite of Simple. Donk is doing everything and still Spirit are losing. I don't see that whatsoever in BC Game. Electronic actually plays a decent game, but there's no fucking way that I think you can build a sustainable roster with Electronic. I don't see it, and I don't see why it would have to be like a full rebuild around Electronic and Simple, and even that, I think, how would you do that? How would you possibly do that? And why, if you go Russian speaking, then you would need to get probably would need to get Russian players, which is difficult. I think Simple still has apprehensions about playing with Russians that he doesn't know personally, like Electronic. He said as much before. He said that he would never join a team which is like him and 4 Russians, like just on principle. And he might have changed his mind on that, but I think he would stick to his guns. I don't see it working out if you go for non-Russian players, and also you're opening yourself up to huge visa issues, because whatever the Russian players are that you get, won't be tier 1 talent. It won't be people who have multi-entry visas into every country in the world. It'll be people who will require months to get visas to just enter Schengen for a period of time or to go to the US, and you limit yourself massively. I think this team is as well, for me, I might just be a fucking pessimist today, but BC Game are so shit that I think it's completely beyond repair. There's nobody you could sign for anybody on this team which would actually make it a team worthy of playing in a tier 1 event again. A single time. Not even a single fucking appearance.
If you're not signing an entire VRS core,
you won't.
If we get back to the hypothetical that I was trying to set up, if you're not signing a VRS core and you're making 1-for-1 swaps or 2-for-2 swaps, let's say you're cutting 2 of the dramatically underperforming Portuguese players, apparently, they can't aim after a slightly raised voice. I forgot. It's how Portuguese people work. It's an off switch. Their wrist just no longer works if you're mean to them. Those guys, if you replace 2 of those diabolically shit Portuguese players,
I think they're also diabolically shit. Yeah, to be fair,
I don't think you can find like a duo that makes sense in terms of theoretical roster construction. That's more the issue. Like, I think you can get not terrible players. It's just you end up with like a Mutarus who isn't with his home comforts at all as far as who he's calling to. He's got a giant pole yelling behind him. Simple electronic on one side, 2 random fuckers on the other. Like, unless they're signing 2 players who are genuinely not that good, he's not going to know who the fuck they are. Like, there's no 2 international players that exist that he's played with that I think are genuinely good. Could they be upgrades over the 2 they currently have? Yes. It's just still not exactly going to be pulling their weight, is I think the problem. So the only real solution is a full core, and that full core, it almost has to be Russian speaking, and it almost certainly has to be Russian at the end of the day. Like, maybe if there's some world where you can get like a bait core if you have enough like fuck you money. Like, if you really say fuck it, we're dropping 12 million on a bait core, then maybe there's a way to do it without Russians. But it's just kind of the only way that works. It's the only way that works, even in theory. But yeah, if you tell me, like, roles be damned, get me Alex, NPL, and Kenzie, or Senthiel if you're really feeling rolly about it. Like, I think that team will play big events because that team with Sizzy and with Kenzie or Senthiel currently plays big events. I think that's a win for BC Game. Now, is it a win for those players? Different matter entirely. As far as their development and their potential, currently their potential doesn't seem that high. Like, as a 5, they're probably capped currently, unless someone takes another step, to like 12th in the world. Unless Sizzy truly becomes a tier 1 star Rauper, Alex, levels up his calling a bit. Like, without those sorts of steps happening, they are kind of capped at 12. It's just, would you want to ditch your boys to go and try and take Simple into the top 10? I'm not sure they would. So that's why it does feel a bit desperate, and it does feel like the only real options are Russian speaking.
Just, first of all, Bait. Yeah, I could actually see that world happening if Bait had missed the major. But they made the major. You can't make this move before Cologne is over, and even after Cologne is over, unless Bait have an absolute fucking stinker. I don't see why anybody would want to leave this team. As you say, they have fuck all reason to actually go there, considering they're pretty much, all of them are 20 years old or younger, except for Alex, as far as I know. Alex is 24, the rest are 20. All of them have development to come. All of them have pretty bright futures. This team has been together more or less for like several pieces of this have been together for a long time. I think they are collectively getting better slowly and have been for a number of years now. Essential is somebody I thought was utter dog shit when he joined Bait, and for a long time I thought he was an utter dog shit player. But probably in his tier, like around the tier where Bait play and where they're expected to win games, Essential is genuinely really good. And he gets a lot of output from really tough positions a lot of the time. And like Kensizor, we talked a lot about Kensizor. He's a great player. I think Alex is genuinely pretty good as a caller. I think NPL as well has been very good at like since leaving the IGL role. And honestly, even Sizzy is like starting to improve very slowly, game to game. He's starting to get a little bit better, getting a bit more output. So why would any of these players go play with Simple for no other reason than the same reason why anybody would go to Astralis in fucking Denmark back in the day? Because if it's like, oh, we can play with Simple, whatever the fuck.
Well, that is a thing. Like, that is a thing. We saw it happen time and time again. And, you know, Simple is the biggest name in Counter-Strike still. Like, as far as like a online appeal and pull and fandom, like, he is still the big name. So I wouldn't be surprised if that did have some real pull. But it's just
won't happen.
It just feels unrealistic. And of course it would happen before the major. I don't think they're making any moves before the major.
Before the major, you can't do shit. But like, I mean, even after the major, I don't think they do it, because you're going from playing in the major to playing not even playoff invites to CCT. You have to play the Swiss stage.
Why? You signed? It's the bait core. You mong. Like, why would you?
If you sign the bait, if you were to sign the bait core, then yeah, I guess. But like,
there's no world where you sign two of them. Like, that's just not happening. Like, it is a bait core.
Okay. If we're there, I think you can pick apart Ukrainian teams. You could pick apart talent from Fnatic and Inner Circle and actually make a decent roster. You could probably do that in theory. Make a decent Russian-speaking roster with players that Simple will actually play with. Who actually have some reason to try to go to BC Game. I just don't think those teams are going to be that good in the end, because these. Maybe that's the best. Maybe that's the best opportunity. Honestly, maybe that is the best. Fuck mute. Like, either try to get a core out of like Fnatic or Inner Circle, and just screw all of the Portuguese players, or you try to do some sort of. Pick the Fnatic players, maybe two of them to replace Crazy and Aragorn, and then eventually you consider getting a Ukrainian IGL, getting Onyx or Fear into there. It's a marginal upgrade on VRS, like, but like you keep your core, you keep your ranking.
I don't think there's a world where they're making that many changes in eventuality, and they've not got themselves a better VRS core. I just don't see that happening. Like, them keeping a spot where they're grinding online doesn't look likely. Like,
then they're fucked. There's I don't see anyone.
We've laid out how they're not fucked. Like, the way they're not fucked is pretty clear. It's a very limited window, but there is a way.
Sorry, what was that way again?
That limited window is getting the bait core. But anyway, we're wasting daylight on this.
You won't get bait core. You will not get the bait core. If they had missed the major, yes, I could see it, but you won't get the bait core. I can promise you that.
Okay, Quack GM of Bait, who doesn't like $12 million, has decided they will not be moving on. Anyway, the rest of Bucharest had more teams worth talking about. Yeah, I touched on it earlier. Focus. Just because I was very invested in their story, I did wholeheartedly believe they'd make playoffs. Almost take map 1 over Eyeballers. Get up to 12-7, I believe, at one point. Then disgustingly choking, including some utterly fucking crazy, like, 1v1 whiffs and things. Like, just some horrendous chokes at work, just to go lose an OT as well. Next map, they take it. Should have been 2-0. Obviously, that's not how time works, but hey, whatever. We can pretend it does, just to say they should have won 2-0. And then they just, get to Dust 2. Do not play well enough. Classic capitulation. Just thought I'd touch on them in the Despicable Failures section, but the real part of this that was a despicable failing. Parryvision, who scraped their way into the playoffs over Wildcard. Scraped their way past Wildcard. Just to face the Mongols, lose 2-1, go home in 7th, 8th, or not 7th, 8th, 5th to 8th. Pretty tragic. The pattern kind of continues. Like, amazing, terrible, amazing, terrible. Now, I thought the terrible would be worse, actually. I thought they wouldn't even make playoffs. But hey, they were a favourite on the double swing. I said they wouldn't make points. They didn't. So the ping-ponging just continues to get worse. Paravision. This should have been an event where they make the grand final. This should have been an event where they win, let alone make the grand final, just based off their results so far this year. But predictably, just cannot stay consistent. I mean, I know roughly what I have to blame for this, and I just don't want to. So, Quack, please tell me you have a different idea as to what's wrong with this team.
No, I don't have a different idea. They play like shit. They do genuinely play like shit. The fact they play against Food, and that should, I think, honestly, that's the candidate for what should have been the grand final. But it was not really a
Pre-event
candidate for
odds, you'd probably be like, yeah, the grand final has to be Paravision versus one of Mongols Astralus Foot. Like, that has to be the finals matchup, like, when you're going into the event.
They then, of course, they get kind of screwed by 3D Max, and then wildcard they scrape by. And even the Mongols one on the final map, they blew a 9-3 lead to 9-13. They didn't win a single CT round in Ancient.
Dog shit CT rounds.
It's over. It's over. No, but maybe it's not over. Maybe it's just classic Paravision. Yeah, big flop. Big flop. Why do you think it went wrong?
This is the same reason I chose not to pick them. It's the same reason I've been critical. Well, I was, briefly, critical, cynical about eyeballers when I talked to you about them in this event. They simply cannot buy a performance. Like, map by map, match by match, event by event. There isn't a guarantee of anyone performing. And it's not just James the IGL, James the AWPing IGL, like whatever. The fact that he's going to have some off maps isn't the biggest deal. The fact they have 4 riflers who just cannot seem to hit shots with any consistency is getting tilting. And you watch certain games where it's like they're in the right positions the entire time because James got good reads. Like that Ancient map, Ted broke it down beautifully on Overcommed. They genuinely had the stacks in the right places quite frequently. They just missed. They misplayed situations. They got utility out for no good fucking reason. Like they were doing just noob shit. So they are a team of individuals who are tier 2 onliners still. And a lot of people are especially down on Nota, and I'm like, he's still 18, and I still think he has the skill to become a good player. And we've seen flashes of it at the highest level. So I'm not overly I'm not completely done with him overall. But in terms of this team being able to maintain certain levels of performance at top events, they just don't have the individuals for it right now. And it's depressing to watch.
Yeah, you're probably right on that, to be honest. It's a rifle core which I think the name of the game has always been development. If I'm my honest judgment of this roster is I think they probably had too much success too early. Because I think that gave the impression that these players are ready. That you have Cielo, Nota, and Belchanok who are ready to play in Tier 1, which I think might not quite be true. They're ready to play occasionally, but they're not ready to play at a top 2 level, which is where we've sort of had them. So in that way, I mean, had they had a slower climb, had they had more of this, like something that I've talked about before, about like Furia, and I think to an extent Foot now as well, when they have these step-by-step wins, like you make your first playoff, but you lose in the quarterfinal. Then you make your first top 4, but you lose in the semifinal. And then you make your first grand final. Not necessarily like laid out like that, but like it's clear. It's not just like nothing. You win a big event, and then you get all the invites because you're a top 5 team now. I think maybe if they'd had a bit of a slower pace development like that, where you don't have to face Vitality like immediately on your Tier 1 debut in a playoff series, then maybe we would have seen a slightly better Paravision. Now I think they'll still develop, I think. But I hope Paravision are patient with that. And I hope they don't get ahead of themselves and think that now we are a top 5 team and there's huge pressure on you guys to perform immediately, otherwise we bench you. I think if you give this team the whole year, yes, they might not stay at a top 5 level, but going into 2027, I would consider them a contender for a genuine top level.
Okay. Yeah.
Because remember, who are they? Like, what did they do before they won Last Bounty? They played a major, and they won a LAN in Moscow.
They made it to a major from VRS, basically. At that major, they make it deeper than anyone expects. It's a pretty significant thing. We spent a lot of time talking about like Nota late round heroics, Jame calling a great game, AW having a few clutch rounds, but generally being shit, Belchanok sneakily being shit. That's the things we're talking about around the major. And then coming into this year, obviously they make this way change, and everyone's like, oh, this could be good, but no one's expecting it to be as good as it turns out, especially when it's like win event, flop, make grand final of an event, like some absolutely incredible scenes. Like they truly like knocked it out of the park. It felt like it was, well, it still is actually right now. There still hasn't been a more successful roster move in 2026. Like that is the roster move of the year. Sway to Paravision, immediate impact, immediate effect. Literally one of the only roster moves that's resulted in trophies, because basically everything else is just vitality. The closest thing we have to a second place is what I feel like Soulfly to Aurora kind of juiced them up a bit. Like, do you have any other examples? Like, is there anyone else that came to their team for the 2026 seasons?
No, Foot were unchanged. Not a single roster move, I would say.
Yeah, there's nothing that really stands out in the same way.
No,
the Astralis changes were pretty good, but they're not that high level. They haven't won an event. Probably no single move, because you have to kind of halve the credit on those two guys with Ryu and Fuzi. But as far as a move, they brought the two in at the same time. You could say it's at least on par, if not better than the Soulfly move. But still, this move has succeeded. So we have positive things to say about Paravision overall, but they should be kicking themselves when they go out to tournaments top 8 to teams like Mongols, who are unpolished themselves. And like still figuring themselves out. And the fact they in groups have to go 3-2 and even face the Mongols in that round of 8 because they simply can't consistently beat teams like Foot, like 3D Max. Like they don't have a sure thing. They don't have a sure matchup. And it's pretty rough to watch. But stop being negative. We've been very pessimistic today. Let's get into the fantastic winners, the delightful winners, as they're called in the timestamp. Foot are the obvious one. They did win the event, and they won the event with a 5-man wrecking crew, is what it felt like. Having seen some of the more advanced numbers as well that Luz has shared in my Discord, like crazy role distribution on this team, like really crazy, as far as how much of a star rifle Karrigan is, how despicable Demon's roles are, but also the fact that they all came out of this event swinging, firing, hitting. I mean, it helps when everything you do works out tactically, like all your ideas, all your aggressions, all your little moves, all of them paying off. It does boost your stats quite comfortably, but at the same time, still impressive to watch. Like Dziugss, magnificent in his sort of lurks and in his predominantly anchor spots. Like the one non-anchor spot he has is ancient mid CT side. That's his only non-anchor spot. Everything else is anchoring. Still almost wins MVP, gets robbed. Okay. Need a bit of roll cell fever, I think, maybe as well at HLTV. Would help. Symmetry does play his best event of the year. Plays genuinely impressively. Like I watched a few of the games that he actually played well in, and I saw him hitting shots. I was like, this is the same guy? The same guy I watched take like 15 openers at a CT per CT half and whiff like 12 just like 3 months ago. This is the same dude. Okay. Really impressive. Yeah. Obviously, Laonex is just solid. Like he's a 115 almost guaranteed. Like that's just him week in, week out for this roster. Very impressive. So yeah, overall, they just go 5 deep. Really impressive. They didn't have, honestly, upon reflection, it wasn't a big moment in the same extent like that it should be. A big event grand final. So they do kind of get the warm-up version of a big event grand final. They are able to play their best stuff. No doubts about it. No pressure, really. They smash it. Next time, there'll be 10,000 people staring at them. I hope they maintain it, because I love watching this team play good CS.
Yeah, this was the studio event. Let's just mention that as well. There was no crowd here. Yeah. And I think for Foot especially, that might actually play a part. Because again, it is this...
That's the new Mouse NXT.
Yeah, but also this is the slow development thing, is that now they have a win. They didn't do it in front of a crowd, but like they didn't take the huge step to win Katowice the first thing they won. And I think that's good for development of these players. So I think the biggest thing which changed for Foot is that they were able to close maps and close games. Especially against Paravision in a 3-0 game. They end up having a 13-11 map win. That's
it's
something
a development that's been coming. Like we've noticed it over the last couple of events that they haven't won the last couple of events, but they have had close wins, quite like a little bit more reliably. And here we saw the best manifestation of it, I guess. Yeah.
Like they had to come from behind to win that does too, and especially against Paravision is one where like Paravision have been well known in this matchup to just win those close maps because that's what they do, and they're kind of the anti-Foot in that sense, in the way that they they often, the maps get drawn out, but they close it at the end, while Foot sort of have to win early or they don't win. But they managed to do that in the group stage. Honestly, even like, and then you go into the playoffs as well. You had 2 close maps against Bait. One of them is overtime, but they win both of them. That's again a nice development. And maybe Bait aren't the best opponents, but then they do the same thing in the semifinal. It's another overtime on Mirage, and it's a close map on Nuke as well. So I would say it's a great step forward for Food and the way that they play. So they should be very happy with themselves. I'm sure they are, but I'm excited to see where they keep going. Let's slightly pump the brakes on the fact that they're now top 5 or something on VRS.
That's VRS, isn't it?
Top three even. I'll just slightly pump the brakes on that one. They won a studio event against Astralis, and still they surpass Mouse and Furia and all of these. It's a nice win, but let's just I hope
it's kind of stupid that the top 5 is Vitality, Na'Vi, Foot, Astralis, Mongols. Like, fuck off. VRS needs to be. This is another thing that needs to be balanced in VRS. It's far too reactionary sometimes. Like it does just like rocket teams up, and sometimes it makes sense. Like if they'd gone and won the major, fine. They won Bucharest. Chill out.
Yeah, they'll get jumped eventually because we have Rio going on. But like Falcons are down to 10, Spirit to 11, and G.
But yeah,
no, yeah. Anyway, but that's nice. I hope, obviously, most people will now think, oh, this team was top 5 just 2 weeks ago. Why are they losing this game against G2?
Actually, that's going to be me. Like, y'all should be beating G2.
Yeah, but like taking a group stage loss to a team like it's gonna happen. It's not the end of the world, but people will think that it's a fucking shambles. They're a top 5 side, but they used to be a top 5 side. How are they losing this? Come on. Be reasonable. Be honest.
Don't
anyway.
Be reasonable. Be incredibly unreasonable, internet. We need cock of the week candidates. Takes this guy forever to find one every week because people are too reasonable.
People are way too reasonable. But they're a winner. Can we talk about my winner, please?
Are you gonna pick Eyeballs as winners for making playoffs?
Yes. Massive. Come on, they make it's their first tier 1 event, their first tier 1 LAN anyway, and they make playoffs. That's it is massive.
It is a massive event for them. That is true. It is huge for them.
Yes.
They made top 8. They did beat one of the top 8 seeds in FaZe Clan.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Let me say this. How that Astralis game in the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
The fact that they were 1 round away from eliminating Astralis with a 2-0 win in the quarterfinal. Do you think that experience is good for this team or bad for this team? Or do you think it will rattle them to the point where they can't perform, or do you think it's like a nice achievement for them to have?
Can it be neither? Can it just be they played a playoff series? They can be happy with how they played the playoff series. I don't think it's going to be revolutionary for them. I don't see how it could break them. But I just think it's just a good rep to have. Like, yeah, you lost, right, and you were pretty close to winning at one point. You did get utterly fucking smoked at the 3rd map that finally Astralis woke up on. I was watching that game. God, it was annoying. But no, like, this is just a good rep to have gotten in, is finally playing that playoff game. I don't think it will swing the rest of their career or year or season or anything. But it's a good game to have played. It's good to have played fairly well in. Again, no stage always minimizes how much impact this can have. Like, if they had gone on stage, huge emotion, like the emotional swell of seeing 10,000 people staring at you, some potentially even cheering for you if you're anyone but JW on that side, and you're that close, that could have a devastating effect, or it can really steal you. It could have had it, but in the studio event, it is a bit more of just another game, and it's just a good rep to have gotten against the top team, technically in a playoff. They'll be back, I'm sure, at some point. The way some of those guys have performed over the course of the entire event, that might inspire a bit of confidence as well. Like, I think this entire event is going to do more for them than just just that Astralis close call.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair. Yeah, I think they've had a very good experience. I love that gaming as Astralis. It should have, undeniably, it should have been an eyeballers win the way they played, and I think they can be very happy about having been in that position. But I hope they learn from it. They have a lot to learn, both gameplay wise. I think there's first of all, I'm very impressed with JW. I'm not sure, did we get EVPs for this event yet? No, we didn't. Asylum said that he had effectively locked in an EVP, which I think is amazing.
I think we do have EVP. Well, do we have public EVPs, or have I seen something I shouldn't be talking about publicly?
No, we don't have.
We do not have EVPs, so I have no idea what's happening.
Asylum said that he thought that they had basically locked in an EVP. I doubt it, considering how well all of the foot players played, and I assume we'll only have maybe 4 or 5 EVPs.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if a quarter-finalist team managed to get an EVP at this event, because there's an EVP at least. If Dziugss doesn't get an EVP, I will throw a brick at everyone who works at HLTV. The same brick. I'll pick up and throw it again and again. Dziugss is getting an EVP. Lornex will probably end up with an EVP because he did win. He was the top rated in the semi-final. And those are maps they won, so they count. There's a very strong chance like Fuzi gets one, I think. Fuzi and Yabi. At least one of them, if not both of them, are getting one. So no, there's not a chance in hell that an eyeballers player gets an EVP out of this.
No. Anyway, their individual performances. Somebody asked me about Bob XD, what had happened to Bob XD. I think...
Yes, explain it, please, because, yeah.
Yeah, poor event. I think, personally, they ended up in an interesting situation here, where JW and Maxter, the top 2 performers, have Tier 1 experience, in the sense that they have been at Tier 1 lands before, several. JW, obviously, but Maxter as well with NIP. Like, he's been around. He played a lot of... actually played quite a fair few events with NIP. He's been in this environment. It's sort of... both of them are sort of coming back. I expect them to perform here. Rolf and Dex have never been anywhere near this level, so they have zero expectations. I'm sure they felt pressure, but it's not like anybody would be mad if Rolf or Dex dropped a 0.75, because they're also kind of like the supportive elements. They've never been at this level, and like usually you're fine with them having a middling performance and the team can still pull through. Bob XD is one of those guys that has to perform and has never touched this level ever before. I think it kind of got to him. I think personally it ended up with being... it looks to me that, like, okay, he has the perfect storm of bad circumstances where the team needs him to perform, but at the same time, he's in the most discomfort compared to the rest of the team, where he's obviously in a completely new environment, and that's difficult for him. I think that's what it comes down to in the end, where I don't think necessarily that, like, he got countered in some clever way consistently, or that, like, he played poorly, because I think he played poorly because he played poorly for like pressure reasons, psychological reasons, and I hope that's a learning experience for him.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I don't really like. I mean, I'll clown on it a bit. Like, he did play hilariously shit, like a 0.5 KPR. Like, bruh, what are you, an IGL? But no, he didn't really. It didn't really like break my expectations or understanding of him. Like, I still think he's, below poi, but I don't think he's a terrible player all of a sudden. I still see some potential in him. Yeah, no, I think it is one of those questions of role versus moment, how those things interact.
Yep.
And probably also some self-expectations, some pressures put on himself from, like, past events he's played with this team, where he's been like a pretty fucking banger player. Like, he dropped a 142 at the last Roman Imperium Cup they played. He's had some other, again, a 142 at the giveaway journey they won. Like, like, he's been a true carry for the side.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably just thought about it too much, let himself down. The other team who really, I think, are a big winner out of this, despite losing the grand final, I did, kind of say they should win it, like they have to win it. I was at that point. I will preface, unaware it was a studio event. I had not noticed it wasn't a studio event. I play streams muted. and I genuinely had never looked at the screen between rounds. So I didn't notice it wasn't in a fucking like event hall. Oh, that's a lie. I noticed the quarterfinal was being playing behind closed doors, and I genuinely thought, oh, that's just the quarterfinal. Like, that's genuinely my brain when that's just the quarterfinal. I expected the grand final to be played on stage. So the fact that Astralis did play behind closed doors against Foot, it does dampen the blow of them losing that grand final, especially in 3-1 state. Like, that's pretty one-sided. But yeah, they get another grand final under their belts. They take down a pretty dangerous-looking 3D Max in the semi-final, because 3D Max, despite, obviously, as you've eloquently put it, sucking, are actually one of the better teams here, and a pretty sort of dangerous side to play against, no matter who you are. I mean, they might gift you a win if you're the 35th ranked team in the world, but they also they got a good chance of upsetting you if you are 10th, 8th, 9th. Like, they are a tough team to play. A bit of a joker, a bit of a bogey team. So yeah, take them down. Over the course of the event, they go 3-0 in the groups. Pretty convincing wins, especially against the Mongols. Like, the Mongols game was ferocious. Like, they just ripped them up. I do think Astralis are on the right trajectory as well. Like, this is obviously not the hugest event, not got the biggest teams, but as far as what this event means for these teams, it's kind of where we're angling for. I think Astralis can be very happy with the games they played here. Sure, Foot maybe look a little more dangerous. They are fragging 1 through 5 kind of crazy at this event, but I think they can be quite happy with, like, seeing a star level out of Yabi. Still a decent level out of Stare. Fuzi had some big series. Ryu had actually some good maps. I still think they should be happy with this, and they should be looking to build a pretty successful season.
Yeah, I think they do look really good. This was nice for them to get, especially when they get past eyeballers was when I felt that they probably should have won the event. Foot are good, but I did think that maybe winning the grand final was a step too far compared to Astralis, who we've seen take down, or at least play well against better sides than Foot. So, but in the end, I think they kind of, once they did get past eyeballers, and the fact that then I did feel that, like, yes, they're going to be in the grand final. They should probably have won it. I still think they can take big wins here.
The thing is with the Foot Astralis matchups was, it's a matchup that's gone back and forth all year. Like, it's not like Astralis are decidedly the better side. Pro League, Foot win twice against Astralis. No, they win once against Astralis, then Astralis beat them, then Astralis beat them again. All at Pro League. They played each other 3 times. And Astralis end up coming out on top by, like, 1 map across the 3 series they play.
Yeah.
Then now they play each other again at Bucharest, and Foot win 3-1. I mean, it's just 2 teams playing good CS who are both on the rise. I'm just excited to watch them play again. Like, I do genuinely enjoy watching these 2 teams play. So,
yeah,
no complaints from me.
Specifically, Fuzi is very exciting to me. Not just for his flag, but because of the way he plays. He's very fun, very very fun player. I think Yabi put in an amazing shift as well here.
Yabi had a crazy event, like.
Second best rated player, save for Karrigan's 2 maps.
Yeah.
Which tops the chat sheets, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, Fuzi's a player that's worth being excited about, though. That's where you're right. Like, he does have a quiet grand final, like the one Reproach can make over this event, but he does have some genuine carry maps. He is exciting when he carries. Fuzi is a fun AWPer, and I still have some animosity for people who called him a noob when Astralis signed him. Like, fuck all y'all. What were you talking about?
Some people we know said that he was bad on wildcard. Yeah.
Name and shame those people right now.
Tony, why not? For a long time he said that he was bad. For a long time. Once we had a long discussion where he said Hades was better than Fuzi. And this was when Hades did that weird stand-in thing with G2 before the Austin Major.
All my homies love Tony. We all know that's true.
I love Tony.
But that is probably one of his worst takes.
That is your worst take since you said that Sonic would never be on a top 10 team.
That was a funny. That was a funny one. To be fair, has he eaten that mouse pad yet? Anyway,
no, because Sonic hasn't been top 10, but he's about to be. M80 are looking so good. Sorry, no, he's on NRG.
Yeah,
They're looking so good.
Anyway, yeah, that's going to wrap up Bucharest. We now move into.
Finally.
There's no double swing this week because the event started Monday. I'm not doing the double swing on a Sunday, bro. I got a life. I did hoovering on Sunday actually. There you go. But the
Nice.
IEM Rio pre-take, that's what it's going to be. It's the IEM Rio pre-take. You love the sound of that. You love taking it pre. We're going to talk about it. The first topic we have to discuss, obviously, is Quack. How much of a foregone conclusion is it that Vitality are winning the Grand Slam here?
It looks pretty good. I think I would give it like maybe a 90-10. That's 10 is that it's been a little while since we saw some of these teams play. It's been a little bit of a while. I'm wondering sort of where Spirit, who are a little bit, where are they right now? I'm not quite sure. It's been a while since we saw them play.
Unfortunately, it's been a while, but they were very shit the entire time.
Yes. That goes for most of these teams. Falcons is another one, which is like obviously always dangerous, but Rotterdam was a little while ago. Like I'm waiting to see where they end up. Mouse is one I can say the same for. Navi as well have been looking so good. I think mostly because they have been able to avoid Vitality. But like, where are they now? Furia, where are they now? It's like that's the 10%. But I'll give like maybe even a 5% if I'm giving it like a 95 to 5. Whatever. Vitality should win. If I was a bookie, I'd put like a 125 odds.
Yeah, no, they should win. It feels almost just guaranteed. There is obviously the chance Donk just hard carries his way to a win of an event. Maybe they face a weird-looking Falcons in a semi-final, and that allows someone else to go win the event. But yeah, they do look pretty much set to win it. Now, Quack, you're going to fill for about 2 minutes now. Just about whatever team you want at this event, because I put a stew in the oven like an hour and a half ago, and I need to go check on it. So, Quack, you're going to fill for an hour and a half. Sorry, not for an hour and a half, for a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm filling for an hour and a half. You will notice that Kingt just put his trousers on. This, for whatever reason, very uncomfortably. He took his trousers off before he started the show, which was unsettling. We're in Rio. Rio is always a fun event. I think tomorrow's game for Falcons Spirit is going to be very exciting. I think Falcons have a chance at winning. I think the last time Falcons made a roster change and then played an event with their old roster, they won the event and Digster was the MVP. So I'm thinking, holy peak!
How do I show this without burning something and without spilling it on my desk? Hang on.
Oh, he's doing a Tyler 1. Pour it out.
You can't see it. The exposure's terrible. Fuck. It looks sexual. I will take a picture and post it on my Twitter.
Do it. Yes, do that. Because it's hard to tell on camera if it looks sexy as fuck or if it's burnt. But that looks good. The teams I just mentioned, Spirit, Falcons, Furia, Mouse. Out of those, I'd probably take Falcons with the best chance to win it. Just through some no pressure, dead team buff. But also, I think it will be very interesting. Navi and Aurora, specifically. Navi now have 2 back-to-back grand finals in big events. And they lost one of them to Vitality, but they still were there. And Aurora as well have had a nice record of playoff finishes. Grand final in Pro League, top 4 in Rotterdam. So I'm interested to see if one of the, I think the most interesting storyline would be if one of those two were to be able to overcome. Like, that would be the most interesting storyline. So that I'm sort of looking forward to seeing.
Okay.
What do you think?
What did I miss? What am I supposed to think about?
I just mentioned the teams that I mentioned: Falcons, Spirit, Furia, Mouse. Okay. Out of those, I think Falcons maybe have the best chance. Do you remember the last time that Falcons made a roster change before playing a big event?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It involved them winning the event, didn't it?
Yes, Diggs, that was the one where Diggs got the MVP. Yeah. So I'm thinking kicks and MVP, they win the trophy. Yes. But also,
Quack now stealing takes from shit posters on Twitter. I do love it.
Yeah. 2 people can have the same idea at once. No. But what I said was the interesting part is I mentioned Navi, and I'll also mention Aurora having been successful while kind of dodging Vitality, not really challenging them.
Yeah.
The most interesting storyline would be if one of those two were the ones to be able to actually prove themselves and do it properly.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Obviously, we saw Navi lose a grand final to Vitality, straight 3-0. I still think they suffer from the same problem if they do fight them again, or face them again rather, where they just like, you don't have that much of an edge to go to in the map pool. You don't really have an edge to go to tactically overall. And then you don't have a firepower edge. You don't have a theoretical one, I don't think. Like, the best version we've seen of each of these players on Na'Vi isn't enough. I think there's maybe a theoretical edge Aurora could have. Like, maybe they could hit real hard. Like, we haven't seen that much of Soulfly. Maybe if he massively overperforms, combined with a huge Woxic and a huge Wicadia, and then, of course, a Prime Xantares type showing, maybe. But I'd be very surprised still. Especially because, Xantares hasn't had the juice to go deep in events, really, ever. So, I don't know. I think the best chance we actually have to see is the best chance we have to see someone knock Vitality out is if they go like, maybe they lose. Somehow, actually, I think the best chance we have is them losing in groups. Like, it might actually just be them getting grouped. Look at their group. G2, Spirit, and Falcons. You want to talk about fluke kind of firepower losses? They could get vibe fucked by G2. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just on some fluky bullshit. They could then, in the lower game, they'd have to shit on Liquid or 3D Max. But then facing that lower final, Spirit or Falcons, like, that's the more realistic option, I think. To see them actually get minutes. Once you get to the stage games, I don't think they're losing shit.
No. This is the same old Vitality. As long as they make playoffs, they will win in playoffs. I doubt G2 will be able to beat them, considering you might have forgotten Hunter's not playing. They have Tak as a stand-in.
I haven't forgotten.
I'm
you genuinely think that they might... doesn't rate Hunter's Nigel in the slightest and thinks...
No, okay, but like, how much do you unrate Tak and the calling of a fucking Sun Pious personer?
I'm looking for a fluke, and if you go fishing for a fluke, you might get one. Like,
that's true. Like,
the old expression.
Give me a G2 win there in Vitality, and then they face Falcons in the lower bracket. That would actually be that would actually be like two teams that would be difficult to prep for, because I think both would just kind of go out and pug it because they're both dead. I can see that happening.
Yeah, that's I think the way it happens, because if they go through upper final 2-0, upper final straight to semi rather, they can't play Spirit in the semi they then play. Their semi would be against, at worst, Falcons, I think. So I think Falcons would be more dangerous than the second place team out of Group B, most likely.
Yeah.
I mean, still, we're relying on Falcons beating them, essentially. It's for them to be knocked out. Like, that's kind of what we're looking at. I think it kind of has to be Falcons, or like an inspired return to form, totally not splitting up guys, Furia. Like, those are the two most realistic options. I don't think either one's particularly likely. I think this is a Grand Slam. Thank you, ma'am. Done deal.
Yeah, I think it is the case. But it would be interesting. Never gonna happen. Never mind. I was gonna say it would be nice if somebody actually beat them in the grand final, and for the first time activated the $100,000 reward for killing a Grand Slam attempt in the grand final.
Would be fun. Would be very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the preview we're gonna give Rio. We don't. This isn't the double swing. If you wanted a full,
it's not exactly dripping with this pre-take.
We did everything. We pre'd everyone.
This pre all over.
Yeah, I pre'd so hard, man. Let's get into, speaking of cock of the week. Quack. Who have you selected? I have not paid attention to the sheet, so I don't have any spoilers.
This is an HLTV thread.
Good.
And you might like this.
Finally some cock shit.
You have opinions on Olaf Meister, have you not?
Yeah, of course. He is a massively overrated player in terms of the all-time lists, but I still think he's all-time great, let's be clear.
Let me introduce you to Happy Crank, who titles this thread, Olof Ruin Phase.
Yeah, I do usually sad crank, to be fair, so I might try this.
Happens. It's one of those. It looks like a 4chan green text. There's bullet points. I'll just read them out in order of appearance. Olof Ruin Phase joins Phase in late 2017. The team starts dominating almost immediately, but mainly due to minus Allo plus Guardian and Nico's carrying. The team starts to drop off after the Boston Major. In early to mid 2018, Olof already gets some burnout issue. FaZe wins tournaments playing with Chroman or Exist instead of him. Olof returns to the team. The team once again turns to trash. Gets grouped at the first event with Olof back. FaZe continues being trash for the rest of 2018, with the exception of one fluke at Epicenter. Karrigan gets kicked and FaZe is trash for the entirety of 2019, wins only one Blast tournament that year. 2020 comes by and again Olof needs a break. FaZe of course wins an event playing with Kirby instead of Olof. 2021 comes by, and Olof finally gets kicked permanently. Oh wait, Olof returns in mid-2021. FaZe do nothing for the rest of the year and get dominated by Na'Vi. 2022 comes by, and now Olof actually finally gets kicked permanently. FaZe win everything, dominates Na'Vi, with the only change from 2021 being that Olof was replaced with Robs. Did Olof Meister negatively contribute to FaZe clan when he played for them?
Now, this is one of those things that's like, it's not that wrong. It's not correct, like, to say that Olof ruins FaZe, because a variety of things broke FaZe, not least of which is Nico not liking having Karrigan on his team with one of those mouth thingies attached to a brain that has ideas. If he backhands Karrigan, he might fight back. So, it's a bit of a weird situation where, like, the team was shit, not really just because of Olof. Now, it is true that Olof spent years on FaZe being subpar. But it's also true that FaZe spent a lot of time making almost random roster moves to try to get something working that were just terrible ideas in the first place. And even times where Olof wasn't on the team, they like brought in players and it just kind of sucked. And obviously we characterize the one event he wins in that one period as a fluke, but then Kirby, it's not a fluke. Chroman, it's not a fluke. Okay. This is classic narrative manipulation. Now, you can say that he was contributing to the decline of FaZe by he himself declining and always being a part of the team until finally they really refresh the roster and then start getting better. That's obviously something that eventually happens, but initially, especially in 2017, he's not a problem on FaZe by any means. He's a part of the reason why their firepower is kind of fucking OP. Like, because they have Nico in his prime, they have Rain playing some crazy CS, and they're like, oh, who's my support player? Oh, right, it's Olof, who also gets 0.7 KPR. Like, it was kind of stupid when it was working. Prior to some, burnout issues, I think Guardian got an injury at some point as well. That influenced the team. Did Olof get injured at some point? I feel like that happened too.
I listened to, this was in his Hall of Fame interview with HLTV, where he mentioned that I think part of the reason why he became the support player of FaZe was because he was already injured at that point. He got a wrist injury, which kind of still haunts him to this day. Like, it's still a problem for him, but that made it more difficult to like consistently perform. Guardian, yes, also injured previously or afterwards. Burnout issues, he also revealed in that interview, was like his dad passing away, I think, which is rough as hell. And I'll also mention, someone in chat said he was dangling the personal break thing. He also mentioned in the interview he was not dangling. He literally told Robban, go sign someone else, but they didn't, and then he came back. So he wasn't exactly dangling it.
Yeah, so this is wrong up until it starts becoming right.
The pattern's there. I'll give him that the pattern's there if you follow his line of reasoning. The only part it's entirely wrong is the start. Like post Boston Major, I can see the pattern. All right, they actually did do stuff without Olaf. But I think honestly, maybe that is what the dead team buff is. It's that you get sort in the same way where uncertainty and like being in uncertain situations as a team actually can breed performance in an interesting way. It's where like where you go into an event thinking, damn it, we have Chroman, what are we gonna do? And then somehow it actually starts working and you win an event, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not a very well substantiated take in the end. It's just random nonsense on a HLTV forum, and this is pretty cockworthy. How many replies has it got? 25. It didn't end up carrying that much weight. It's not a very weighty cock, pencil dick kind of cock, but it is still just a bad take, and that's okay. Let's move on from all this phallic talk into the retake games. Quack, do you have a game this week, or is it just me?
I do not have a game this week.
Okay.
I'm very tired. I will be falling asleep immediately when the show ends.
Right, so the game I have for you this week is a bit interesting. If you would care to look at the stream, you will see a little graphic up here. It's a leaderboard from an event. You're going to have to try and determine the event. Now, in order to do that, you're going to have to first guess the players. There's multiple steps. You have to guess the players and then guess the event. And the way you can do that is a variety of ways. You can say, is there a player here from X country? You can guess teams. You can guess whatever you want. But just try and narrow down the list of players. I'll give you 10 revelatory questions about who the players are.
All right.
And then afterwards, you have to try and figure out which event it is. Now I need to go find my browser history, which event it is. Because I've forgotten.
Okay. There's a nice split I could start with. See, I already see. I don't think you're playing a trick on me here. But I see that this is a rating 2.0 event, which means it is not CS2, it's CSGO.
Yes, it is not CS2, it is a CSGO event. Oh, that's for free. That's on the chart.
Yeah. I'll just use my deduction to find that out. I think I see several oppers.
Oh, what's that based
on top here?
The KD. Here's some reasoning. Okay, the KD, yeah.
The KD's high. Like, I think maybe the second player is not an opper. The KD's higher than the rating, but it's not that much higher. But I'm looking at like a 155 KD to a 135 rating. That's quite a big discrepancy. So I'm thinking that maybe an opper's leading. There's an interesting amount of maps as well. This doesn't look like a huge event. This is something like the 7 map one is very interesting because I'm not sure you almost could perform this well and play only 7 maps if this was like an IEM format, like the modern IEM format, like a Katowice or something.
I'll give that one away. It is basically a modern IEM format.
Oh, okay. See, now I'm just trying to deduce as much as I can before I ask.
Yeah, I'll give away this stuff. That's fine. I don't think that's going to be very helpful.
So those format things, it's like an IEM or a Blast event. Maybe if we go back, it's a DreamHack event or something. So maybe I'll just where's a good midpoint to put? I'll say, well, it wouldn't be 2016 or so. So this is something between like 2017 and 2023. So I'll just put the midpoint. Is this pre or post the end of 2019? So like New Year's.
That's not one of the questions you can ask. You're asking questions about the players right now.
Yes. Forgot. My bad.
So about nationality, team, hell, you can straight guess a player if you want to be one of the 5, but
Who is a do I need to pick the spot or can I say generally?
You can say generally.
Are one of these players an Astralis player from the major winning roster?
Let me see. Yes,
Megas
one is.
Device. That's great. That's great because I doubt that anyone on that roster Ooh, that was nice. That was smooth. I doubt that anyone on that roster would perform this highly and go this deep in an event post 2019 if it's in CSGO. So, and I specifically asked about like Device, Magus, Dupree, Glaive, Zipnix. And again, it's the KD thing. This is one of the players that I suspected wasn't an AWPer, so I'm thinking this is maybe Magisk. He played one map fewer than the second player. This could be one where they maybe played against Vitality. Let me, okay. Is there? I have good reason to believe that the top player is either Simple or ZywOo. There's very good reason to believe that with a 135 rating. And the era we're talking about. Is there a Nautus Vincier player, perchance, on this list?
Well, let me check for you. I believe there is, right here.
Fascinating. Fascinating. That's lower than I thought. That's simple. I'm thinking the top one is ZywOo then. It could be Cologne. It could be one of the Colognes. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that this is an event pre... like I said before with the major winning roster, it doesn't have to be that roster. It could just be a player from there. This could be Device, and this could be Cologne 2022 or 2023, where I think Israel is somehow actually made it quite... 23, they made it quite deep, I think. So that would be Device. And Simple was playing there, but I'm not sure he played this well. All right. Fuck it. I'll ask nationalities. Is there a French player on here?
No, there is not.
ZywOo's not in the equation. I think flat out, ZywOo would not play an event in the era that I'm thinking this is. Like in the era where he would appear in an event like this, where he wouldn't be above a 123 if this was like 2019 or so. So that's interesting. I'm thinking this is like a 2018 event.
You know, in the background, I'm just going to start looking at ZywOo events to see how many of them fall below the 123 mark. Now that you've said that, I'm just like, out of curiosity, I have to check.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, the next one I want to eliminate is Cologne 2018. But I think Simple was better there. I think if Simple is the only Navi player on one of these on this list, he would have been better, and he would have had more maps because he played in the grand final and won that event. So I can actually kind of eliminate that based on that. There's no big player who dropped a 155 KD in Cologne despite being in the final. Liquid players, mayhaps. Is there a North American player on the list?
North American? I'm going to need more specificity because we do have 10 questions to work with.
Damn it. US is the best chance.
There is. I'll make sure to only reveal the flag.
This has to be a Liege. Surely that's a Liege. Now the thing is, a Liege should be a lower KD player. Yes, he is the lower one. Liquid got eliminated early, is what I'm thinking now. Astralis potentially won the event, with considering the amount of maps. They potentially made the grand final. Navi didn't. Or they swept the event, in which case it's a different story. And there were no French players. So it's not one where Vitality were actually good. That's how far I've gotten. I need to start narrowing down the era. Who might be a consistent top performer? I'll just ask about the players I've had. Is Device on this stat sheet?
Yes, he is. Device is on the stat sheet.
And I think that was my number 5. So then I've nailed down the era. And I've nailed down roughly where we are. This is 2017 to 2019. It should be. Unless you've picked a pandemic event, which would be horrible of you to do. But I I think probably if you go on the events page and look at 2020 events, you get nauseous. So probably you didn't pick that. A US player has to be a Liege or another Liquid player because the KD's low. Rifler, for sure. No French players means there's not a G2 player on here for sure. Huh. I never asked about Danish players. There could be North players around, but they didn't appear this highly. This could, if this was like DreamX.com. No, there's no way. I doubt I can find out exactly which event this is. Am I allowed to go on HLTV myself? Try to cross-reference.
I'd recommend not doing that for the sanctity of the game.
Okay, thank you, ref. I need to get that 13 mapper. I need to get who that is, because that's going to tell me a lot. Who made a deep run? Mouse player, perhaps. A mouse sports player. Is there a mouse sports player on the stats sheet?
Let me check. Nope.
Actually, does tell me quite a bit. It could be a phase player. I've asked 6 questions. Is Nico on here?
Nope.
Again, it tells me a lot. I don't think... I'm thinking 2018, 2017, Nico probably had a lot of events where he was quite highly rated, despite losing. I'm down to 3. Yeah, I'm down to 3 more questions. Who are these grand finalists, though? Who are these deep runners? Is it like a post-pandemic event? Is it somewhere there in like late CSGO? Maybe there's heroic players or something like that. Just as a point of clarification, when I asked for a US player, if there were multiple US players, you would have revealed both of them, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay, just so I know there's more players than this. And if Nico wasn't on here, it's probably not FaZe if it's the era I'm thinking. Ooh! Is there a Finnish player on here?
No.
Ah! Ends. That eliminates quite a few events there in 2019, 2018, where I think we would have had like an Alu or Sergey appearing. I have 2 more. This is so rough. This is actually so rough. Could be Berlin Major. This could be the Berlin Major. This could be it, because Device won the MVP. No, but the Navi player would be on top because I know Electronic was rated there. But then, and I don't think any Avangard players were that highly rated. Fuck! Dude!
Quack, I'm going to come in here with a sort of semi-lifeline. You can choose between getting 2 more bonus questions or getting 1 semi-useful hint.
Give me the hint. Give me the semi-useful hint.
Counter-Strike is divided into 3 regions.
It's an 8. There's something Asian about this. Or ANZ. Renegades. It's not a nifty 50. We might be in Sydney. We might be in IEM Sydney. There's no way JKS had ever had an event that good on top there. This will give me a lot. Is there an Australian player on here?
Yes.
That was a good hint. I have one more question.
You do indeed.
JKS would be... Oh, he's top... Surely that's JKS. There's nobody else it could be other than JKS. JKS winning an event. They won Sydney, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure all of these. And that's an even older IEM format as well, considering I think you only had maybe 18. No. I think he won IEM Sydney. Renegades won IEM Sydney 2018. I'm not locking that in, but I'm saying it out loud. It could have been 19 as well, in like the lead up to Berlin, and also when they went to 100 Thieves, I think they won like a late season. No, they didn't. No, they did not. Okay. One more question. A question and a guess. Yes.
Yes.
What do I know about Renegades and their roster timeline? I know Gratis Faction wasn't there all the time. It is just that 13. Who did they play? They played NRG, I think. But then there would be more US players unless that 13 there is Cirque or Daps. But that it wouldn't be Daps. I'm so sure that they played NRG in that Sydney final. What if they didn't? I'm leading IEM Sydney 2019 because I know they won on home turf. Renegades won on home turf. Unless it's some stupid shit like they only came second. But I'm just gonna in my mind I'm just gonna lock that in as a point of clarification. Just to slightly make it easier. Is Cirque on the list?
No.
Right. IEM Sydney 2018. I said it. There we go.
No.
How close was I?
Wrong year, wrong event. Renegades were not in the grand final.
Was it?
NRG
were the
didn't
players
make
JKS and
playoffs.
Elige?
It's not Elige. It is JKS. So just to go top to it. Okay, this is JKS top rated for Renegades.
With 12 maps?
With 12 maps. This player is
Without
indeed
making playoffs?
simple. No, Renegades made playoffs. They lost in a last 6 match. This player down here, the Greater Liege, or is it Ethan of NRG?
This is 2019.
And second place on this leaderboard, I'll slowly reveal, you can guess. It's a Liquid player.
Oh, this
NAF.
has got to be NAF. Yeah, it has to be NAF.
This is the top performing players of ESL Pro League Season 8 finals.
Fuck's sake. that was always going to be hard to guess.
Yeah. So I was waiting on when I gave you the Renegades hit, I was like, maybe this just opens the door. like maybe we get a Renegades guess. Or maybe we get an attempt at figuring out who that second place player is rather than some assumption. I'm like, maybe there's something going on, but no, you end up believing he might be Cirque. I thought was ambitious. Because that means you're guessing NRG and hoping Cirque is high rated. I'm like, those are tough guesses to make.
I'm pretty sure there is a grand final. Now I can't. Maybe JKS wasn't even on there at that point. But I'm so sure that NRG and Renegades have played each other in a grand final, and I figured if they did, probably their Opera played well. Is what I'm thinking. Beijing is where 100 Thieves came second, and Astralis won. Okay, no, what the fuck am I even thinking about? Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I thought I'd put your knowledge of this sort of shit to the absolute test. Like,
I very much got tested. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, yeah, device down there. It was a bit like you initially guessed that would be a rifler. Like you said, that wouldn't be an AWPer, which is reasonable because, you know, it's to rating 2.0. When you assumed the top players were AWPs as well, it's like that's also sensible when you have a nothing to go off of, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to go off. Like, yeah, those look like AWPer ratings to KDs, but they also, as it's revealed, can just be uber passive players. But yeah, the Ethan one I thought would be a massive like sort of trip up point, and it did end up being one because you asked about not Liquid, you asked about North America, then specifically Americans, obviously, because North America,
Yeah.
the whole last region, come on. And that, as soon as you saw that US flag, you're like, Elige, it must be Elige. I was like, oh, he's fucked. He's actually fucked. Like, I don't know how he recovers this.
Yeah, I'm also completely misremembering the fact that JKS ever played, like, won an event against, like, won. They won the Shanghai. There's a Shanghai event that they won. And they played with Renegades, but it wasn't an IEM. It was some other TO. So I am just in that there. I am just completely misremembering what it was. It was an I-League Invitational Star Ladder, 2017, and they won against Virtus Pro. So yeah, wrong on all fronts.
Exactly.
I'm very glad you did top 5 and not top 6, because the next one is KNG.
Yeah. Because I think that the Pro League finals, once you get beyond the very top, they are a bit random as far as the teams in attendance.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure I keep it constricted. But yeah, let's get into the Eternal Shuffle. Quack. What's been going on? Give me some moves and I will try to give them some grades.
There has been great news across the Counter-Strike scene. Regali is a free agent, King T. What do we think about this? What do we think about this amazing offer finally being able to join a new team?
Front page news. I mean, this changes everything. Like, as far as Rostermania is concerned, it's back on.
Yeah.
It's about to be seismic. I mean, wherever he goes, that's a player kicked. We're talking about teams moving mountains. Like, I'm talking not just blood money, I'm talking alien money, demon money. Like, they're making pacts with all sorts of devils. Like, they're trying to get all the cash they can to sign this player. Realistically, no. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about. Regali's a free agent. Guys, sign him. Tier 2 needs some firepower. He'll bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's about it, to be honest.
I mean, prospect of the week and close, I think.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, no, okay, no, I did read this one thing. Karrigan, he's going to Falcons.
Who?
Oh, actually, you weren't there. He won the Antwerp Major, Karrigan, for FaZe. Does it ring a bell?
Antwerp? A major? I thought those were in big cities.
It's weird. You know, usually it's like
some
Berlin.
Call of Duty League shit, and there's 4 a year. I guess you can give one to Antwerp, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I can't watch them all though, man. Like, come on. But
no,
okay, some guy who won a major is going to Falcons.
Yeah.
What kind of stupid name is that?
Yeah, I mean, fucking birds in it. Like it's yeah, no, they're going. This was the big news. Thank you, Regali, for being the Dacia Sendero of this show now. But yeah, it's Karrigan is supposedly leaving. This is reliably reported as happening, not just one of those. There's interest. They're talking about it. Immediately after IEM Rio, Karrigan will join Falcons, per sources to HLTV and others. Corroborated by French sources as well, which I'm not sure how. I'm assuming there's a French Falcons employee or something.
There are.
Yeah. So yeah, it's reported as being for Kixan, presumably. It would be weird if it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think Karrigan for Nico wouldn't improve the team. Just a hunt I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's obviously going to come in for Kixan.
It could have come in for Zonic, in theory. So
technically, true. That's actually a very real option. But for now, we're presuming, based on the reporting and based on the logic of the universe, that he's going in for Kixan, making the roster Nico, Tesses, Monacy, Kioske, Karrigan. Funnily enough, something that's been pointed out a couple times by Luz Raposo specifically, is that actually this team is quite low when it comes to T-side like map control attempts. Like they're not very good at it. Actually just attempting, let alone succeeding on map control attempts. So bringing in Karrigan for Kixan, despite already having Nico and Kyosuke, will address a point of need as far as like meta or macro strategy rather, which I think is interesting. It should make them better in that sense. He's obviously a firepower downgrade to Kixan because Kixan can hold a mouse. Yeah. He doesn't have an MBA and therefore have wanker's cramp from all those essays he wrote. So this will be interesting to see how it works out, honestly, because Karrigan's less tactical. I mean, recently we've seen the phase leadership. He's been less anything. But historically, he has a relatively loose sort of approach and way of seeing the game. I think this could work pretty well for this team as far as making people comfortable and potentially like opening up the avenue that we've always said is there, which is like firepower to victory. Like that's the idea. So for them as a team, they needed to make a change. This means that Kixan can now go to Mao's, and Mao's can now win everything, as was promised, because clearly they have multiple superstars. The only problem is leadership. So yeah, A+ all round.
Yeah. I think this move is weird in many ways. I think first of all, Karrigan has been kind of shit for the last year or so in terms of calling phase, which is which is it's one of those where like he's kind of failing upwards, which is not the worst idea. Like it's obviously a very Falcons-y signing.
Hang on. Straight white men, am I right? God, this is just... Anyway.
Fuck.
Character change over.
Yeah. Beyond that, it's also weird because he's going back to Nico for the first time in 7 years. I went the other way. Yeah. I went 8-7 instead of the other one. He's also reuniting with Sonic for the first time in 10 years, which is which is always
two pretty bitter sort of departures, isn't it? Like you're not good enough to IGL for our team, they go on and win 3 majors. You're not good enough to be my IGL. Himself goes on to win a bunch of trophies, Grand Slams, and a major. So it's like it's going in all directions. Like
Yeah, and also the Sonic Karrigan thing is one which has always been quoted as that's a fundamental mismatch in styles. And now they're working together. He has a weird positional overlap where he basically has no overlap with Kixan is something I saw on Twitter. Like positionally, he has more overlap with Tesses, so like players are going to be moving a lot positionally. Granted, it doesn't really matter where Karrigan plays, but it's but on paper I kind of like it. It's one of those where I think Tesses might get shafted once again role wise, since he has to move once again. He might not be. It's not exactly like he's moving into opener roles, but maybe Karrigan figures that like fuck it, I'll just play anchor, hard anchor, whatever. I think it has some interesting implications. There's one thing I thought of, which was Monacy compared to every single AWPer Karrigan has ever played with, is, in my opinion, quite different. Go back, like Karrigan playing with Device, playing with Alu, whatever, playing with Guardian, playing with Boxic and Brokey. Monacy feels stylistically very different to that, and I'm wondering how Karrigan is gonna work out having like a pure superstar AWPer who like flicky, cerebral, very much front and center in a way which like neither Woxic nor Brokey really were or are.
Do you know what he just got? He's just walked into a situation with the player Brokey thinks he is.
Yeah, it might be. But yeah.
As far as like Prime Brokey, when he tried the stupidest shit, like sure, Brokey was never big on opening picks, but he would still call his number. She'd be like, guys, I'm going to do something. And then you'd either cry or laugh, either way.
Yeah.
I don't see the big issue with having Monacy instead, because Monacy's going to be, firstly, more coherent and clear in terms of what he wants to do and how he's going to achieve it, because he's just kind of a genius, it seems. So I don't see it as a problem. Like it's like, oh no, other people are going to have ideas. Womp womp. Like I think he'll be delighted and thrive.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, if nothing else. There's still this very weird, maybe even more mismatched in the fact that you now have 4 openers, 4 natural. I think Karrigan is somebody who wants to take a lot more openers than Kixen does. Fundamentally because he likes to throw himself into to like get traded and stuff more than Kixen did, which is interesting. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. I'm just wondering, what's the end goal here? Like, is Karrigan signing on here to play until he's 37? He's 35 now.
What else are you gonna do? Start a business? Like, yeah, why not?
Coach.
Yeah, I mean, you could. That's a lot of work. Why not keep playing? If you're gonna do a bunch of fucking Counter-Strike work anyway, be on the server. Like, you know,
Might as well play.
Like, I mean, I don't think he should be like in terms of what his abilities are. I think he should be a coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude wants to play. Let him. Like, I don't have that big.
Yeah, no, but I'm just wondering, even if he did go to Falcons specifically, maybe he could have had more impact if he was coaching, if he replaced Zonic instead of. Maybe that would have been a net benefit for all parts.
As I'm opposed to the idea that just because you could IGL means you can coach. I've been proven right a dozen times. I've also been proven right that just because you couldn't IGL doesn't mean you can coach. And again, Taz, don't know what the fuck you're doing, bud, but it's hilarious.
So I've also been proven right that it's a nice foundation. That like you probably have a better chance of being coach, somebody who works with tactics and leadership, if you were the in-game leader dealing with tactics and leadership, as opposed to being Tesses.
I guess, but the difference is Tesses never chooses to become a coach in the first place.
Players like Tesses choose to become coaches.
Who?
I don't have one on the top of my mind, but
there's like few examples, and it's like Zipex, but he didn't become a coach of a top team straight away. So like he did it properly.
No.
Like,
I more mean like, there's a reason why that happens, and it's because it's usually a better foundation to stand on than just being Tessus, a random dude. So what I mean.
Look at the top coaches. Like there's one who was an IGL in tier 2. That's it. Everyone else is random dudes.
Now Blade was a caller.
Yeah, there's your one example. Like everyone else is basically a random dude. Who was Cyclone calling for?
Danish teams, tier 2 sides.
He's essentially a random dude. You can't even name one. He's a random
dude. No, but that's because there's a million fucking Danish teams. Let me find. Yeah, Tricked. He was playing for Tricked for a long time. Copenhagen Flames, Sprout, Fragsters. Like, this is upper level Danish tier 2 in like 2018 to 2020.
2018 is no such thing as upper tier 2. He's a random dude who coached an academy, then became a real coach. Like, he went through the proper processes and was a random dude. Like, random dudes work as coaches far better than top IGLs. Like, we don't have a litany of top IGLs who become great coaches. There's almost none.
Was Rugga a caller? I don't think when he was playing Rugga.
I wouldn't know. It was also so long ago.
Yeah, true. Saw was calling. I think Coolio is one of those, like, played absolute shit tier.
Yeah, random dudes win. It's literally you're better. Like, I do think the better chance that you get a top coach out of like a random ass person, like some random place you'd never expect to find a coach, than it is signing one of the greatest IGLs of all time. I think that's pretty demonstrable. Like,
yeah, maybe. I've heard shit player equals great coach. Great player equals shit coach being a principle in football.
In most cases, it's true. There's a few cases where it's not true. Zidane, obviously, great player, decent coach. It does help when you coach Real Madrid or whatever. Vincent Kompany, pretty good player, pretty good coach. Does help when you coach Bayern Munich, but whatever. There's a few examples, but yeah, generally the great coaches in football have also been pretty average or shit football players. Like, Conte might be the best of the genuinely great coaches. Like, Jose Mourinho was a dog shit player. Guardiola was never anything. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Karrigan to IGL this team. I think there's a chance it works out.
Yeah.
There's a chance it goes genuinely horribly.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I'm very interested to see how it shakes out. I'm not necessarily passing judgment, but I see potential for big negatives, but also like good positives. Karrigan is one of the greatest of all time.
He's
yeah,
the go. He's the go, IGL.
That is the headline move for this week. There was a rumor that FaZe were interested in picking up Woxic, which
very nice.
Supposedly came from reliable sources, and it also kind of tied into the previous rumor that Sponge mentioned that Aurora were trying to make some sort of deal for Molodoi.
Oh, what the fuck's going on with that? The
Molodoi,
whole
Alexibi,
Aurora
and
thing
Ash.
is just weird. Like, Aurora to get Alexibi and Ash, but then also get Molodoi is just weird. The Woxic for Brokey part is just a slam dunk. It's just a straight upgrade. Like, no two ways about it.
Woxic.
Oh, yeah, except for Woxic.
Yeah.
But as far as FaZe making the move, it's grading the move for FaZe. It'd obviously be an A. For Woxic, as a career choice, depends how much he's paid. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, knowing that FaZe pay not that they are kind of fucking broke, and there's a reason why they went for like Jacob instead of a top player. Knowing that, I feel like this move. Knowing that, I feel like this move, if this comes from reliable sources that they're actually interested in Woxic, I think the only way this move happens is if he has been kicked, and I think he would only be kicked if like someone better was coming in. Why wouldn't that player be Molodoi? So actually, maybe that's real. Maybe this is like a sign that leak is real.
Yeah.
Slightly secondary rumor. There was another rumor that Foot and Aurora were gonna swap rosters, which was an interesting one.
Swap rosters.
Yes, Foot basically being a Turkish org. The rumor was that they would prefer to have a Turkish team, while Aurora would prefer to have Foot because they're good. They would just do the teams swap orgs basically.
Turks will do anything but win for the sake of being Turkish. Y'all are fucking mad.
Yeah, I doubt if that's real. If it's been talked about, I doubt it actually happens because I doubt Symmetry wants to play for a Russian org. And Demon, just on principle. Whatever.
I don't know the lads, but yeah.
No, but I just doubt that. It's just on principle. When you played for Navi, I feel like that's the kind of culture you come from and all that. But I can't speak for them. That's just a guess.
Yeah, that's
whatever. Final rumor. This was from KRL. There was also a thing about Magisk, but I think that was dismissed pretty quickly. Heroic targeting Natew, or I don't fucking know who.
Heroic targeting Natew. Yeah. I mean, I like Natew. If the who is a bit of a weird spot for me to think about because I'm like, I guess like, yeah, he's not coming in for Xfloud. He's not coming in for Nilo for Suspicious P. You know, that's the only way I could see it even being considered. I don't really see it as that great a move. So not a lot to say about this one.
Also, if this one is happening now, why? Because Youngstar would have to keep opping if they make this move now for the major. Like if you have the option to make one roster move before the major, why aren't you replacing the opper who is in an opper? I get that he's been fine, and I get that. Yeah, and I get that in this roster that you have Tobias has said we are going to play it out with Youngstar until Alcaran is back, which he won't be. So Youngstar will play out the season pretty much, minimum. But then why wouldn't you sign an opper if you have a chance at making one roster move? So it just feels weird. Maybe there's like an off-season movement, then it could be a double move. Maybe then you have something like Halser comes in for Youngstar and Natew comes in for Susp, and that's not half bad.
Yeah.
Gailey comes in.
Yeah, no, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Don't think it's an option.
weird rumor and very little. This is just something KRL tweeted with the picture, because that's what he does. But he does like actually seem to have some insider knowledge, and Nate, you being French, obviously, then I kind of believe it. We briefly touched on it. Tak is playing in Rio and the foreseeable events because Hunter had an injury to his foot.
Yeah, not sure how he managed that one, but it's not really a roster move. It's just a thing that happened. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Just a random fact. Yeah.
How do you rate Tak?
Good luck, Tak. He's played pretty well on G2 Ares. They've been a bit disastrous recently, but see how it works out for him. They might have a valuable asset to sell on.
Betboom benched Artfrost and signed or added Zorti, but I couldn't figure out it. Like, this was always known that for the major, because of their visa situation and their stand-in situation, this was something they had to do. The fact that they qualified for the major with Zorti and Flammes standing in means that one of those two has to play the major, unless Valve were to give them some crazy exception. So I don't know if this is just like one of those, like, we are announcing it because, you know, we're going to play the rest of the season with this offer, or if it's one of those, or if this is like a genuine move that Artfrost is benched and Zorti's hopping.
Yeah.
Very strange. But yeah, anyway, can Zorti hang?
Yeah, he's all right. He's performed okay for them so far, so why not?
Yep. Diha has left Illwill. They're now down to 7 Kick, Haji, and Adam S.
Yeah, okay.
Illwill actually interesting. No?
They were. And everything that was interesting about them is just slowly ripped apart as the roster's nothing like it used to be.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They were interesting with Nimana and with Duha. They now have neither one.
Yeah, this is actually horrible
not
as well.
Very inspiring.
They're only keeping 2 players on their current ranking as well, with because Diha was like a load-bearing pillar in that VRS core, so they're actually kind of fucked. Yeah, Ilbil are gone.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Another rumor. This is from Gromov or Harumi, I think. Cybershock practicing with Alcaran, which opens up a lot of questions.
Yeah, like what was their AWPA doing that day? Why did they have Alcaran stand in? Because they're obviously not making this move. Because Alcaran is mid as fuck, and you might as well play with Fenderman. So yes, good job scouting the practice servers, lads. This one's not a real move.
I think it might be a real move because they also mentioned, or at least removing Fenneman, because he also mentioned that they were also practicing with Squezics, Danists, and Fluffy. So like 4 oppers.
He was sick for 3 days. They had to bring some people because of scheduling. I refuse to believe that they've gotten so desperate that they're going to bring Alcaran in for Fenneman. I just don't see it happening.
All right, fair.
Obstinately refusing. That is my position.
Yeah, I was more thinking that this opens up questions about Alcaran on Heroic. But anyway.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen, so it's all right.
Yeah, right. Eternal Fire have returned M-Star to their academy, and War 2K is benched.
Is this because they sucked a bit and missed massive upgrades in terms of their VRS spot by losing games to Sashi, etc.? Probably.
Well,
probably also,
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably because they lost a 1-win in Hyper Spirit in the Challenger League Cup and things like that. They've just not been very impressive, not with any consistency at least. Some of the ratings are nice, like Warriors are 112, Joe has a 113 since joining, but it just they haven't found a mix that wins games consistently. So they're trying again. I mean, Waro, you could say for his like level of play, is getting kind of hard done by here. Like, he don't play poorly for them. But I guess maybe him also, being a bit of a twat and then, you know, not playing well did like Draculan just combines for a good excuse to kick him.
Yep. He's been known as a bit of a cunt, so probably that's why.
He's very direct.
Yeah. Yes. There's a funny clip. He obviously played with Spellan for a little bit on Mad Lions. And there's a funny clip where he's playing on Mad Lions in one of the later rosters. And the funniest thing is that the clip is, like on Twitch, the clip is made by Spellan. Because it's one where they accidentally talk in all chat, and you can actually see it on the broadcast or hear it on the broadcast. And for some reason, I don't know if there was a caster, but they were just completely quiet. And I've told you about this before, I think, but it's the one where he goes, "Guys, we are bullet. Do you know why we are not winning? It's because of bullet. I don't have up. But what we do, we are fucking brain dead, like mid game, while some other guy is trying to clutch, and Borb is just laughing at him in the voice comms."
Classic toxic retard behavior. But yeah.
And I can only imagine Spellan probably clipped it to send it to some mates to see. Look at this idiot; he was doing this every day in every practice or whatever, something like that. It's my guess, probably why. Anyway,
Seems likely.
Seems likely. Speaking of Eternal Fire, they also lost to they beat Infinite the other week, who have added Blitz instead of QQ. So QQ was on trial, clearly failed. Now they have Blitz instead. So to remind you of the full roster, this is Kriaz, Blitz, MHN, Detour, and Slend.
Yeah, I mean it's a roster with some potential in terms of maybe if you change out MHN. And maybe change out Slend. He's actually dropping a 121 for them in 12 maps, but still. Maybe if you make some roster changes, still, you might get somewhere good with this team. I just like the idea of Kriaz, Blitz, and Detour back together. Because Blitz played with them on Eclot, didn't he? He did, yeah.
Yep.
And they played pretty well as a group. I was kind of bummed when they split up. Remember, we talked about them on this show a couple times, so yeah. I'm pro this move.
Nice. Just as a note as well, this means that Nexus have now let a third player go, which means that I can hear it in distance. I can hear him approaching. The King, the return of the King, BTN from the bench to save their VRS core or whatever. Save the roster anyway. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming home to Romania.
It's coming Romania. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Marsborn benched everybody they benched everybody except for Grizz, and they built a new roster with young talent, is what they said. This was fun. This was a classic NA one. It was Lucid who recorded like the announcement video, and he said something like, "There's long been a narrative about like there's long been something we hear a lot about from the fans is that the NA region always recycles the same talent. So for this roster, we've gone for some newer faces that we hope we can develop nicely under this new roster." So they went for Freshy, Marekiev, OG Wizard, and Wumbo, which is 2 from Boss and 2 from some other shit team.
VRS. Yes, we agree with VRS. We love VRS. We have heard of VRS.
They actually don't get a core from this. They took 2 from 2 different rosters.
That's the joke.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck.
What
Yeah.
idiots doing? I guess.
But anyway,
fair, they're what, like 90th before anyway. It'll take them 2 like best of 3s in fucking NA to get back to fucking 90th.
Just go to a frag. Yeah, just go to a frag.
It's not that big a deal, but still, it's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, the funny thing about was when they said all this publicly and stuff is Modem, who I know is he's a little bit of a he likes to stir the pot. He had the following quote tweet: "The team hated each other, and the amazing org needs to save money. Good luck to the new guys. I hope the long-term goals can be achieved. I hate this narrative, us guys that have been playing longer are just not good enough, when in reality that's not what stopped us." So which is not, it's slightly passive aggressive. But yeah, it's. I
have a question for the professor.
Yeah.
So what does stop them?
Probably that they hated each other.
It's fun. Like every NA team in the history of Counter-Strike must hate each other. There's like one exception to that rule. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, have you tried being friends? Like, it's like, are you all homeschooled and incapable of socialization? Like, what's wrong with NA players?
Good question.
Always mad at each other, dropping slurs and create new teams. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but no, we whatever the fuck. This is why I'm Mr. Chemistry. You need chemistry. This particular roster failed because of chemistry. No chemistry. per
Sure.
per
They were
modem.
definitely
Anyway.
good enough. They would have made it to tier 1 just because of the chemistry.
No,
Darn.
but they no. All right. Yep. And finally, your wretched nation has spilled out a shit roster, which consists of it's called Clutch Chain, which is some sort of side note. It's some sort of crypto Airbnb thing. Which I just don't know how the fuck that works.
Did
but
you
anyway.
say Clutch Chain? What is it, like a men's team, or do you mean the women's team?
The women's team,
talked about
I think, the women's team we talked about last week. I think it was Zaz.
Oh, I
it
see
was
what you
Pigeons with Zaz. But there's a male team with from your part of the world. It is Scream, Nivera, Python, Kyojin, and some other cunt.
Yeah, Shogu, who the fuck that is. Well, they're playing Tipsport Conquest of Prague, and they beat Mouse NXT in a best of 1, so this will be the greatest francophonic team of all time. Obviously not. They are... This cannot work. Like, I don't know what the idea is, but this cannot work.
Oh, this is some weird ass bullshit that I don't know. I know what to think about it. I don't like it.
I don't want to be a player
also...
hater, but I expect this to fail.
Let me try to figure out what the fuck Clutch Chain actually do.
This is not.
So
we are 2 hours into the show. I do not want to figure out what the fuck Clutch Chain are doing. Like,
fair.
Do not
fair.
care about Clutch Chain's fucking business model.
Yeah. Yeah. TLDR. Fuck the French. For F for fuck the French. Yep.
Too many majors won. Too many World Cups won. Too many number 1 hits. We're just too good at everything. I'm sorry. Sorry, lads. We had to step out. You know.
What the fuck is this company doing? But yeah, that's this is sports bet expert all over again, but French. Yeah, that's the moves. That's the shuffles for today.
Great, lovely jubbly. Let's wrap the show up as we always do with prospects of the week. Mine is boring because it's the same one as last week because there wasn't a whole lot of like very young players like playing, much to my chagrin. So Texie is my pick again. Nota's twin brother had another banger week. Quack, you picked his teammate.
Yes, Resalt, who topped the team when they won CCT, which is what they played today. They went undefeated and only lost their opening map against Rustic. Actually pretty decent side. It was Eyeballers, it was ESC, and it was major qualifying big, and they didn't lose more than 8 rounds in a single one of those maps. Except, of course, for that lost opening map to Rustic. Result has always been... Yeah, but like post that, it's still like eight straight maps. 8 straight maps. Result's always been fucking insane. He's only 21 as well. It feels like he's been around for... Like, we've been talking about him on the show for like 3 years.
Yeah, we've been banging that drum, you know.
Yeah, he should be in tier 1. He's on the, like, if you keep winning CCTs in this fashion, then you will eventually go to tier 1. And yeah, cracked as fuck. Well done. See you in tier 1.
Hopefully, one day, someday soon. Maybe he'll end up playing with Simple on BC Game. And on that bombshell, that's
Audacious Sendero.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me your thoughts on any of these topics. If you want to insult Quack, feel free, but make it creative. Don't make it boring. Yeah, sub for more content. If you want to become a member, do. It doesn't cost that much money unless you pay the most, in which case it does, but you get more bonuses. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.